Hello and welcome to Setup Phase. Today I will show you how to set up Imperium Classics or Legends and some of the rules for the game. Let's start with the setup. Each player chooses one of the nations that they want to play and takes their cards from the box. Today I will set up the game between Romans and the Persians. Besides the deck cards, you will also need to take all the market cards from the box. These are the uncivilized, civilized, regions, tributaries, fame, and the unrest. Remove all the cards that show a higher player count than the ones that you are currently playing. You will be able to find this icon at the bottom left of the card. For example, in this unrest, you can see here that you will use this card only for a 4-player game. First, the player setup. Separate your cards based on the icons on the bottom left corner of the cards. Place the power card in front of you. You can choose either the B for the beginner or the A side for advanced. This card will always be in play. Place the Ascension card above the power card. You can easily see which is the Ascension card because it has a small dot in the bottom left side. Shuffle all nations deck and place them on the Ascension card. The nation deck have a crescent moon. Place all development cards next to your nation deck, face side up in any order. The nation deck you will easily be able to recognize because it has a plus side on the left bottom side. Place a state card with the barbarian side face up next to your power card. You start as a barbarian and you move on to empire during the game. Be sure to check out the specific rules for each nation because things might change. Shuffle the remaining cards, the ones that don't have any icon in the bottom left side, to form your deck. Place it near your cards and then draw 5 cards to form your starting hand. Do the same for each player involved. For the common setup, you will need to follow these steps. Grab the material, population, and progress token and place them within reach. These are these tokens. You have materials, population, and progress tokens. Give each player 3 action tokens and 5 exhaust tokens. They also take 3 materials, 2 populations, and 1 progress token. Place the market board face up. The market board has 3 pieces. One is with the general deck, one with civilized and uncivilized cards, and one with the regions, fame, unrest, and the exhausted deck. Place all unrest below its icon on the market board, which means they will go here. Place the fame card, King of Kings, with the A side facing up on the market board. Shuffle the remaining cards. And for a 2-player game, remove 2 cards from this deck and return them to the box without looking at them, and place the remaining cards on top of the King of Kings. Shuffle the regions, uncivilized, civilized, and tributary decks separately, and from them choose in a 2-player game 6 cards to place face down in the 3 locations that match the symbol on the cards. So we will have 3, 4, 5, 6 regions. Six uncivilized. And 6 civilized cards at the top to form their specific decks. With the remaining cards, shuffle all of them together to form one single market deck and place them here. Draw 2 cards from the market deck and place them below the market. One from the civilized, one from the uncivilized, and one from the regions. Add an unrest card below all cards except regions. This means that this tributary gets an unrest. The civilized and the uncivilized will also get an unrest below them. The 2 regions will get no unrest. Place 1 progress token on each civilized cards. Place the solstice cards between 2 players. This will symbolize the end of the round. Let's say that it's here. This means that before you get to the Roman's turn, you will have the solstice phase of the game. Now that you have set up the game, you can start playing. Each round starts with the player to the left of the solstice card and goes clockwise until you either reach scoring condition or the collapse is triggered. On your turn, you have 3 actions: activate, innovate, or revolt. Most of the time you will choose to activate, where you can take actions and use exhaust abilities on your card. You can take 3 actions and use the 5 exhaust tokens that you have. To take an action, simply remove 1 action token from your state card and play a card. There are 2 main types of cards. One that has a pin icon, which is the infinite symbol, and will stay in play after the activation, and one without the pin icon that will go to your discard pile after the activation. This means that Dalmatia as a region will stay in play, but Prosperity will go to the discard pile. While most cards can be played anytime, if the card has a barbarian symbol, it can only be played while your nation is still a barbarian. The same goes for the empire cards, which can only be played while you are an empire. Furthermore, some cards have a sword icon which denotes an aggression card. These types of cards usually affect your opponent. Cards have various effects based on their keyword. The entire list of keywords can be found in the rulebook, but let's go through some of the more common ones. To get new cards from the market, you need a keyword acquire and breakthrough. They both allow you to get a new card, but work in different ways, and might require different number of resources to be paid in order to activate them. When you get a card by the acquire or breakthrough, add that card to your hand. Acquire allows you to take a face-up card from the market with the indicated type on the card that you play. If there is an unrest below the card, take the unrest as well. You also get all the tokens that are on the card as well. Acquire allows you to take face-up cards from the market with the indicated type on the card that you played. If there is an unrest card below it, take the unrest as well. You also get all the tokens that are on the card. For example, in advance, we can choose to pay 3 materials to the supply in order to acquire a civilized or an uncivilized card. If we take this uncivilized card, we will take both the card and the arrest in hand. Or if we take this civilized card, we take the card, the unrest, as well as the progress token. The Roman expansion allows us to acquire a land. We can choose either one of the 2 available in this case. With breakthrough, you have 2 options. Take a face-up card that meets the requirement on the played card with the tokens on the card, but without the unrest if it has one underneath. For example, if we pay 5 materials, advance allows us to break through for a civilized and uncivilized card. This means that we can either take the uncivilized card without the unrest below, or urban development with the progress, but again without the unrest. Or you can take the top card of the corresponding deck. If the deck is empty, refill cards from the main deck until you find the first type of card that matches what you are looking for. If we don't like any of those, with the breakthrough, we can take the top card from the uncivilized deck or the top card for the civilized deck, because this is what advanced allows us. But if, let's say, these 2 were empty, we can go through the market deck, revealing cards until we find one that matches the type that we have decided to take. After taking a card, refill the slot from the corresponding deck. Let's say we have taken this civilized card. We take the progress token as well, and we refill. Since it's still a civilized card, we add an unrest below it. If one of the smaller text, civilized, uncivilized, and regions are empty, fill the empty slot with the top card from the main deck. Add unrest to any card that is not a region. Gaining allows you to simply gain the indicated resource. Like for example in Dalmatia, we gain 1 population. Garrison keyword will be found on region cards. When playing a card with this keyword, you can add any card from your hand below the region. Let's say that we played Dalmatia and we make Garrison a card, which means we can Garrison, for example, advance. You do not resolve the text of the garrisoned card, and it will be out of your deck for now. You will still score it at the end of the game, and it can be returned to your deck when the land is abandoned, which is another keyword. For example, if you play Glory, allows us to abandon 3 regions. Abandon tells you to put the abandoned card from your play area into the discard pile. Along with it go all the cards that are garrisoned. This way, if we abandon the 3 regions, we take all of them, including the garrisoned cards, and place them in our discard pile. To put a card into history, you place the card under the power card. Once the card is in history, it will still score at the end of the game, but there will be no way to return it to the deck. For example, if we played Roman Expansion, the end tells us to put this card into history and we place it underneath our power card. Looking allows you to see the number of cards from the indicated deck. For example, Glory allows you to look at 2 fame cards and take one of them. Simply look at the next 2 fame cards, decide which one you would like to take into your hand, and return the other one on top of the fame deck. Cards with the keyword exhaust allow you to place an exhaust token on them and activate the effect following the keyword. For example, we can exhaust Skadoof in order to gain 1 material for every water symbol in play, in our case 1 material. If you have no more actions, you cannot play any cards, and if you have no more exhaust token, you cannot use any exhaust abilities. Solstice effects do nothing when the card is played, for example City of Rome, but they activate at the end of each round in which they are still in play. This says that you may discard a card to choose 1 population, 1 material, or draw a card. Solstice effects are not optional, except the ones that have the May keyword. To exile a card, move that card from the market row to the exiled space. Let's say that we want to exile these Assyrians because we played the Oasis card. This card will no longer be available for the game. You can only exile cards without any tokens on them. If all cards have tokens, then you do not exile anything. In our case, the Assyrians did not have any tokens. We exiled them, we returned the unrest, and we refill from the main deck. Free play allows you to play a card without using any action tokens. All the effects of the cards are mandatory, with the exception of the ones that have the May keyword, which is optional. Besides activate, during your turn, you can choose to innovate. To do so, discard all the cards in your hand, break through for any card, and move to the end of turn. You do not get to use any actions or exhaust abilities. This way you can choose any card on the market or even take the top card of the decks. But you forfeit your entire turn to do so. Revolt is the 3rd option for your turn. Here you will return any number of unrest cards to the unrest pile. For example, in our case, if this was the hand, we return the 2 unrests and move to cleanup. Like Innovate, you do not do any actions or exhaust abilities. After your turn is complete, you go into the cleanup phase. First, you must add 1 progress to any card on the market. Let's say we add a progress to this shrine. Remove all actions and exhaust tokens from your cards and add them back to your state card. Discard any number of cards from your hand. Let's say we discard these two and draw up to our hand size. Let's say that we go on to another turn. We played some cards, we discarded this, we still have 3 cards, we still have 2 cards in our hand, and we get to draw up to a hand size of 5. We draw the first card, our draw deck is empty, and if it is empty, you will do the following based on whether you are a barbarian or an empire. While you are a barbarian, and if there are no exhaust tokens on your nation deck, which is this one, and you still have exhaust tokens available, add the top card from the nation deck to your discard pile. Add 1 exhaust token to the nation deck. Shuffle your discard pile. And continue drawing up to your hand size. If there is already an exhaust token on the nation card, or you do not have any tokens available, skip this step. If the only card available is your Ascension card, so if, for example, we moved along the turns and the only one available is our Ascension card, and we need to draw more cards, we add this Ascension card to the deck as usual. We flip the state card. We are now an empire, and we cannot play any more cards that have the barbarian icon. And we continue drawing our hand of cards. When you are an empire, the process is similar, but instead of using the nation deck, you will add cards from the development deck. You may choose freely which of the cards from your development deck to take. You will add 1 exhaust token to it, so basically you can only do it once per round, but the development cards have a development cost at the bottom, usually in materials and population, which you will need to pay in order to take that card. Add the card to your discarded cards and draw up to your hand size. Once the round has ended and all players had a turn, you reach the Solstice stage of the game. Find all cards in your play area that have the Solstice keywords and resolve them in any order you wish. So in our previous example, let's say that we have this one in play. At the end of the round, we will need to resolve both Solstice effects in any order that we choose to. Continue taking turns until the game has reached one of the ending conditions. To reach the scoring conditions, one of the following must be true. There are no more cards in the main market deck. A player has developed their last card in the development area, or the King of Kings Fame card has been flipped, which is this one underneath all the other Fame cards. The round is finished as normal, and afterwards you play one final round, including the Solstice Phase. Score the cards in your play area, deck, and history. Some cards have a point number in the bottom right corner. For example, Military Engineering has 3 points, and the Arrest gives you -2 points. Some cards might have different requirements to be scored, or count other aspects of your game in order to score points, up to a maximum of 10 points. For example, the Agriculture scores 2 victory points per that symbol on your regions, up to a maximum of 10 points, and also the Romans card scores you 1 victory point per 2 population, again up to a maximum of 10 points. You might also have this with ? which scores based on the condition that it says. For example, this town gives you 2 victory points if in the history, otherwise it will not give you any points. The player with the most victory points at the end is the winner. The second way the game can end is in a collapse. This happens when there are no more unrest cards in the unrest pile. The game ends immediately, and the player with the least amount of unrest cards wins. To play solo, you need to do the following changes during the setup. Your player and market setup is the same, which means everything here and the player is the same. For the bot, choose a nation against which you want to play and take all of their cards. Separate them as usual between Ascension, the nation deck, the development deck, their power card, and the cards that they have in hand. Place the power card and state card in the play area, which means we place the Persian power card here and the state card, let's say here. Arrange the development deck with the highest point number on the top. We take the development deck, we look through it and arrange them with the highest number on top. Any stars, like this one for Darius I, is worth 5 points, which means this one will be at the top. Then we have 4 points, 4 points, 3s and 2s. On top of the development deck, add the Ascension card face up. And on top of it, add the nation deck shuffled. Shuffle the remaining cards to form a draw deck for the bot player. Place a number token below each market card, starting with number 1 on the leftmost area. This means that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Deal 1 card from the top of the bot draw deck face down beneath each of the numbers. Based on the difficult settings that you choose, you might have other changes to make up for the setup. You always start the turn, and the solstice happens after the bot's turn and before yours. For the bot turn, you roll the d6 dice and place it on the corresponding number. In this case, a 4. If you roll a 6, place it to the side. Start by turning over and resolving each card from left to right, skipping the card that matches the number of the die. This way, the bot will usually play 4 cards, and if you roll a 6, it will play 5 cards. For example, we start with a region. The bot ignores all the text on the cards. Instead, look at the bot activation chart, which you can find in the solo rulebook. Start from the top and check if any condition matches. Usually this will happen based on the type of the card or a specific card name. In our case, we have the Persians and we're still a barbarian. And we check from top to bottom based on the card. It's not an unrest, it's not a fame card, no glory, not tributary, not a barbarian card, but it is a region card. And we follow the effect based on the action chart, not based on what the card says. For this, it says to gain 1 population and play this card and exile a card from the market. In the cleanup phase, let's say that we have played all these cards and they are in its discard pile. Add a progress on the market card that matches the die result. In our case, we add a progress on number 4. Slide the remaining card, if any, to the 1 slot and refill with the cards from its draw deck. If, for example, we have an empty deck, we add the next card to the discard pile, we shuffle the cards, and continue placing cards until we have filled all the 5 slots. If you ever add the nation card, which is the one with the circle, your bot opponent becomes an empire. Change the state card and also change the action sheet. This way it will have different actions based on different activations for the cards. Some of the keywords for the bot work differently than it does with a player. When the bot acquires cards, take the card that matches the requirement with the most points from the market deck. An asterisk is worth 5 points, for example this one. A card with a question mark, it's worth the maximum amount of points that it can score, and any progress on the card adds to the points total. If it is a tie between the cards, pick the card from left to right. For example, let's say the Persians are an empire and they will acquire one card, in this case any card. They will check the market row and get the card with the most points. In our case, it will be exports because it has 5 points by default and another one on top of it. They take the victory point and they place the cards, including the unrest. They acquire first the unrest and they acquire the card by placing it on top of their draw deck. When they break through for a card, it's the same thing, but they just take the card and not the unrest. When they exile a card, they take a card starting from leftmost and they exile the first card that doesn't have a progress token on it. In our case, they exile this steps card. And you refill the market as usual. When they may draw a card, for example, because you played Prosperity, the bot discards the next card in their draw deck. If you play Prosperity again, you will discard the top card of the bot deck instead of drawing cards. When they abandon lands, they place the last played land into their discard pile. If you check on the action sheets for the bot and you see an action that says you gain or you take an unrest, the U here means the player. Continue playing until the scoring conditions have been reached. In a solo game, you cannot win with a collapse. If this is triggered, you automatically lose the game. Score up the points, and whoever has the most points wins. This was a setup and rules overview for Imperium Classics and Legends. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.